Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're talking about why we don't think you should ever pay over retail for any product ever.
Ever.
And when we do.
Oh. Welcome back to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
Today we're talking about paying over retail. When you should, and when you shouldn't, in our opinion. But first, Erin, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little cold because our house is like Alaska. So I may go put on a sweatshirt in a minute. How are you doing?
I'm feeling like it's a very nice climate in here. It's a lovely day.
He likes to freeze us out of our own home.
You know the dad trope of like the thermostat, you can't move it up even a single degree. I gotta keep you on your toes.
I might move it when you're not home.
All right, before we get into our main topic today, we're gonna do our quick sips portion where we give you our impressions on a product. So today, that's gonna be on Bulleit Bourbon. The reason we're doing this on Bulleit Bourbon, this is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 90 proof, all that stuff's pretty standard fare. Mm-hmm. Beautiful bottle. I have seen quite a few studies, surveys, all kinds of market research that says that Bulleit Bourbon is the #1 best-selling bourbon.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Now, there's all kinds of different information that you can find that talk about what's the best selling, what's not. I mean, Jack Daniels and Jim Beam always rate very high.
Yeah.
We're not getting into the Jack Daniels, is it bourbon, is it not debate right now. We'll do a video podcast on that in the future. But Bulleit sells a ton of products.
Yeah.
The reason that I threw this in for our quick sips is because I don't think I've tried Bulleit neat in a very long time, maybe if ever.
I don't know if I have either, because I'm normally Bulleit rye only.
Right. And for a product that sells as much volume as Bulleit Bourbon does, and it's something that if you're watching this and you're someone that's new into bourbon, you might see the Bulleit bottle on the shelf and you might think, wow, this is like really good looking. Like, look at this. And it's like $25. I should absolutely give this a shot. It's got the Frontier whiskey stamped into the front of the glass. But is it any good? Let's find out.
It smells like dirt.
See, I'm getting...
But I dig it.
You dig...
Did you see what I did there?
Oh my goodness.
That wasn't even planned. I'm just that quick.
Oh my goodness. I'm struggling to recover after that.
You know you love it. It does kind of smell like earthy though.
I'm not getting earthiness here. I'm getting like a really sharp, fruity sweetness. It's almost like aggressively sharp. It's really bright, I guess is what I'm smelling, and probably very young. Hasn't been aged a lot. It's lacking a lot of the depth that you get from a lot of time in the oak.
It tastes really bright too, I can tell.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to be this bright on the nose. Yeah. Typically what we sip on neat around here has a little bit more age, has a little bit more depth to it. It doesn't smell like this.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really surprised at the nose. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's just different from what we normally sip.
Is something like this made to be had over ice?
A lot of people do drink it that way, and it may be better that way.
Yeah.
It may be more preferable that way.
I think I would probably like it over ice.
That's typically when we've had Bulleit Bourbon, it's in a cocktail. That's how I typically have Bulleit Bourbon.
It tastes just earthy to me, but I like it. Like, I'm one of those weirdos that likes like wheatgrass shots and stuff. So
yeah, it's good. So, I mean, there's not a lot of complexity there. It's sweet. It's got a little bit of bite to it, probably from the youth. I do think it's worth trying. It's not a bad product. It's a young product. They make this product to sell in high volume, so it's not getting a ton of age. You can't put something in a barrel and leave it there for 10 years and expect to move a lot of volume.
Yeah.
It's really candy sweet to me. Like it leans towards that kind of sweet tarts flavor profile to me. Kind of like that powdery, sugary, like brightness to it. And there's like a little bit of a grainy note, like a corny, kind of candy corn sweetness.
Corny. You're kind of corny sometimes.
No, I definitely am. It's good. I mean, it's fine. It's good for the price that they're charging. The packaging is on point. I can see why It is a volume leader in a lot of
I
categories.
have to ask you a question before
Yeah.
we get to our topic. So now that you've had this and you've had Bulleit Rye, if you could only pick one of them, would you pick this over the rye?
That's no question. I would pick the bourbon all day long.
Really?
I'm not a rye guy.
I know you're not a rye guy, but I just didn't know if the rye was better. To me, the rye is better. The Bulleit Rye is a better product than the Bulleit Bourbon, and that is just my opinion. But I didn't know if...
And you like the tempered sweetness that ryes offer.
Yeah.
And on
But this
Bulleit
doesn't
Rye...
taste sweet to me.
I know. But on Bulleit Rye, I get a little bit of like a synthetic note. It almost tastes like a cocktail, but there's something that's just a little off in there for me.
Interesting.
And this is, to me, preferable.
Okay.
A lot of people who are buying this product are probably buying it because they're looking for an entry-level bourbon and they want something that's smooth and easy sipping. And I would absolutely steer you away from this product.
I wouldn't say it's easy sipping. It's got some bite to it.
I think for an easy sipping entry-level bourbon, you really can't go wrong with something like Basil Hayden. It's going to cost a little bit more than this, but you're going to get a much more well-crafted product. It's going to come in at a lower proof point, at 80 proof. That's the definition of smooth. You might as well be drinking bourbon-flavored water as far as I'm concerned. But I like high-proof stuff.
Yeah.
It still has all those classic bourbon flavors, but it's much more approachable than a lot of higher proof stuff. But this is a good product. And if you like Bulleit bourbon, right on. Like it's a good sip for what it is. Can't go wrong with that.
Sure.
That's our quick sips for that. Let's get into our main topic.
All right, what are we talking about?
I love this topic. So today we're talking about not paying over retail.
Saving your money.
Save your money. Save that money.
Save that money.
We wanted to approach this topic, and this is a topic for someone who is getting into bourbon and they're really getting nerdy about it, and they're starting to go online and they're starting to seek out information, and they're starting to see a lot of the same hyped up bottles posted over and over again. They're seeing the Blantons, and they're seeing the Weller, and they're seeing the Buffalo Trace, and the Eagle Rare, and the Henry McKenna 10-year, and they're seeing all these things, and then they go to their store and they can't find it. Or if they do find it, they see a bottle of Blanton's, which is a $60 bourbon, and they see it priced at $150 or $200 or $299 at a store.
Hot diggity dog.
Or they see a Weller Full Proof that is a $50 or $60 bourbon, and they see it priced at $250 or $500. Okay, don't pay that. Okay, I know some of this is buyer beware. Yes, do your research, find out what the products that you want actually cost, what they should cost.
Yeah.
And then don't go into a store and when you see it, feel like, okay, I see this product. I haven't seen this product at any of the other stores I've gone to. I'm going to pull the trigger and then overpay. Just be smart about the way that you spend your money. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get a product. Just because it's limited or just because it's hyped up doesn't mean it's good. And overall, most people might think it's good, but you might not even like it.
Well, and I feel like this goes into, we should talk about little bit about patience, because that plays into this. Which,
are we gonna have an instant gratification conversation?
Well, I think that can play into this a lot, where it's like you see it, you want it, it's twice what you should pay for it, but because you want it, you pay twice as much. Whereas maybe if you wait another little bit, a year, maybe even a long bit, and you can get it for retail. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times, it's impatience can play a factor.
Or just go to a local bar that has a decent selection of bourbon. Or if you're in a really small market, go to the nearest big city that has a decent selection of bourbon. Take a little road trip, make a day of it. Try a pour at a bar. Like a lot of the stuff that's hyped up, like Elmer T. Lee, Rock Hill Farms, Blanton's, like you can get this stuff for $10, $12 a pour in a local bar.
And paying $12 for a pour seems like a lot of money, but if you weigh that against paying like $250 for a bottle that you don't know if you're gonna like it, it's a small price to pay, I think.
And if you're not there solo, if you're there with a guest, a friend, a significant other, order 2 pours. Order a pour of something that you can't get your hands on. Order a pour of something that you can easily find. Have that person mix them up while you go to the restroom. Come back, try them both, And I think what you'll find, what we've found through blind tastings, is that the margin between pours is much smaller than you would think. Especially for a lot of these hyped up products.
If you're not a trained taster, whatever they're called. Like if you're just your average person, you're not going to pick up on a lot of the stuff that you're paying for.
Yeah. Think about it in wine terms. Like, you like bourbon. You want to go out and get good bourbon. And you see all these people hyping up this good bourbon. But if I were to hand you a $10 or $15 bottle of wine and a $50 bottle of wine, and I poured those in 2 glasses, mixed them up, and told you to pick out the difference, I wouldn't be able to pick out the difference between a $15 and a $50 bottle of wine. I'm pretty confident I would not be able to.
Probably not. Yeah, I probably wouldn't either.
Bourbon's no different.
Yeah, it's very
just because you see a lot of people hyping something up doesn't mean it's worth paying 2 or 3 times over what it should cost just to get your hands on it.
Well, and the worst thing is if you do get it and then you try it and you don't like it. So I definitely would suggest trying it before you buy it at the bare minimum. Try if a friend has it and offers it to you, that's great. And then if you know you like it, then you can accurately judge whether or not it's worth it to you to pay the marked up price. And if it is worth it to you, then that's your choice. That's your prerogative to do that. But if it's not, or if you can exercise patience, then maybe you could get it at a better price and then also buy other bottles with that money that you would have spent, buying that hyped up, overpriced bottle.
So let's talk about when we do pay over retail. I do most of the shopping. It's kind of the fun, nerdy aspect.
Most of the whiskey shopping.
For us in this house, and wine shopping.
Most of the alcohol shopping.
Yeah. It's kind of I feel like it's my job to take care of your palate.
I will let you do your job then.
Yeah. I like to nerd out over this stuff. She's not so much into all the nerdiness of it.
Yeah.
So this is fun for me, and she gets to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
And that's fun for me. So we both win.
Yeah. It is how we enjoy this hobby. When you come to talking about paying over retail for a product, what makes the most sense for me personally is if it's a small markup over the retail price. If you have a product that is, I know, supposed to be a $70 retail product, and I'm at my local store and they have it marked up to $80, first off, I'm not going to be like, hey man, I thought this was supposed to be $70.
Yeah.
Like, they're a small business. They're trying to pay their bills. I'm not going to question their pricing if it's in line with a slight markup. I would rather just pay the extra $10 over retail, support my local store, and then we come home with that bottle. I'd rather do that than I would drive to another store or another 2 stores or another 3 stores. Like, this is something I don't understand about you. Like, you're obsessed with gas prices, and you will drive 15 miles out of the way to save 5 cents.
No, I will not. You are incorrect, sir. I will wait to get gas until I'm in a part of town that I know has inexpensive gas prices, because I know the parts of town that have cheaper gas than where we live or than where I used to work at. Because we live in close to the city. We
can't go anywhere with her not commenting on gas prices. She sees them. She's like, oh my goodness, it's $2.89 over there.
It was $3.04 by our house the other day. That's ridiculous.
Knows. I don't pay attention to any of that. When I need gas, I just pull over and I get gas.
Yeah.
I don't care what the price. I got to pay what I got to pay.
I plan it out. I know where the cheaper parts of town to get gas at, and I just get gas then.
And the way this parallels to the whiskey conversation is that Erin, if she were buying the whiskey, she would exercise that patience. She would plan it out to where she could get things for the price that she wanted them at, or the best price. Whereas me, we run out of a bottle of X product and I want another one, then I'm going to just buy that product, even if there's a slight markup on it. But
a slight markup's
a slight, but I'm not going to be a sucker. I'm not going to pay 2 or 3 times over retail.
Yeah, that's where it's like.
Yeah. So when it comes to paying over retail, that's our opinion. I would love to hear your opinion in the comments below. Do you like to pay over retail? I mean, I can't imagine anybody would like to pay over retail, but if you do pay over retail, I would love to know the circumstances under which you feel comfortable doing so.
What would allow you to feel comfortable paying over retail for something?
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know as well.
This is market psychology stuff, and it's fascinating to me. So genuinely, we do want to know. This isn't like a hey, comment below.
Yeah.
Just because we genuinely want to know.
Like,
this stuff is fascinating.
What would you pay twice what it's worth for, and why? I think the why is fascinating. So I'd love to know.
So definitely leave those comments below. We would love to hear why you do pay over retail.
Yeah.
If you do. If you don't, leave that below as well. We'd love to know why you absolutely refuse to pay over retail. That's interesting in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Any market economic psychology type stuff is interesting to us. So for other stuff this week, we're talking pocket knives. So you get a bottle. This is a terrible one. We should have planned this better, but we wanted to do Bulleit. So you get a tack strip over the top. You need to cut through that. You could just grab it and rip it off with your bare hands. If you're particularly burly person, or you just don't care about those rough edges. I'm a little bit OCD, so I like to go in and take a pocket knife and cut those. So I have a few pocket knives here. I've got friends getting into pocket knives now.
Do you?
Yeah, I've been into pocket knives for years.
Yeah, you have.
So this is why I'm mentioning this. This is a little Kershaw, and all these links will be in the description below. But this is a little Kershaw. Look, pocket knife geeks, I'm going to warn you right now, these blades are filthy. I need to clean them. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. It's going to be okay. All right?
Let me see.
Ooh. It's real bad. But I use this little guy to cut open cardboard boxes all the time.
Yeah, I've seen you do that. Is that the one you carry with you?
No, the one I carry with me. So this is pretty low profile. This little Kershaw, I don't even know what it should be called, like a Cricket. I'm not really sure. I feel like it should be called a Cricket. It's so small. But a little Kershaw knife. What I typically carry with me is a Chris Reeves Sabenza, which this is a small Sabenza. I love this thing. Like Idaho made, handmade, super, super, super high quality. I carry this with me all the time because it doesn't look like a tactical knife. I don't dress like a SWAT team member personally. Rock on if you do. No judgment here. You do you, boo. But I typically dress pretty nondescript. I like to be nondescript.
Yeah.
And this is a very nondescript pocket knife. Expensive, but this is a buy it once, buy it for life type of product.
Yeah.
And because I've invested in it, I take very good care of it, other than the blade being dirty right now. But I know it's going to last me a lifetime. So I would highly recommend Chris Reeves Sabenza or small Sabenza. And then at work, I do carry more of a tactical type knife, which is a Benchmade.
Tactical.
Yeah, a Benchmade mini grip Tillion. But this sucker does some work. So I love Benchmade. I love Chris Reeves. I like Spyderco a lot. And then I like Kershaw. And then just like a plain old buck knife, if you want like a grandpa knife, which I think is super cool. I have one of those I was given as a gift.
Knife.
But yeah, like having a pocket knife on hand, depending on the size, depending on your use case, is such a cool thing to have. This is very nondescript. Like you think about somebody carrying a pocket knife, like you don't really think about just seeing that much of something sticking out of somebody's pocket if their shirt happens to come up.
Yeah.
You don't really think about that.
Does it feel, is it annoying in your pocket?
No, this is, I mean, I specifically like this because it's so thin.
Gotcha.
And this is so thin.
Yeah, that one definitely is really thin.
This one is much thicker, and it definitely, you feel this in your pocket. But the circumstances under which I use this knife, that doesn't matter as much. But yeah, I use them to cut tack strips. I use them to cut cardboard boxes.
And we get a lot of Amazon packages, so he pulls off that knife and helps a sister out.
Yeah. Well, absolutely love those. I'm bringing this up because, like I said, I have friends that are getting into pocket knives now.
This is a super. A thing now?
Oh yeah. Well, it's been a thing. This is a super niche hobby. You can spend a ton of money on like custom made one-off pocket knives from real craftsmen. So we're not going to get into all that. There's plenty. If you're that deep, then you're not watching this and looking for pocket knife information. But if you're kind of like, oh, I should maybe get a pocket knife. Though a couple of ideas are going to be in the link in the description below, and you're going to see the 3 that I just showed you down there, but then you're also going to see a Spyderco, which I think they are really beautiful knives. I don't have one for whatever reason, just because I have those. I don't need one, but yeah, all that stuff is down there below. That's it for this week, guys. If you want to support the channel, the Patreon link is below. It's in the description as well. For as little as $3 a month, you can support the channel. We're trying to build something here. We're trying to build a community resource for all the whiskey enthusiasts out there. And for $3 a month, you can support the channel. For the next step up, you get true value adding options to you, where you get access to all of our scoring information, our scoring rubrics, all kinds of stuff, all the scores, all the pours that we've scored and the scores we've poured. Right?
Sure.
You get all that.
You get all of that stuff.
It's all there.
Yeah.
So
go check it out.
Check it out.
He doesn't make sense. Go look for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's par for the course. All right, Erin, take us out of here.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did like it, please give it a good thumbs up. Not a bad thumbs up, a good thumbs up. And
you can give it a bad thumbs up, just so long as you're giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I guess. Any publicity is good publicity, right?
I guess.
Yeah, so with that, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so. You could see videos. We put out videos twice a week right now, and they are head-to-heads and podcast episodes like this. So don't forget to subscribe.
Dang it. I always time these sips at the worst
I'll
time.
redo it.
No.
I messed up.
Until next week. Cheers.
Cheers.